Hey everybody, this is DM Mike, and this is the next quick prep update for Dragons of Icespire Peak. Here I am in the Dwarven Excavation. One thing I'm going to be adding to my, I've kind of done this in the past, but I want to do this a little bit more now, to this next adventure is audio logs. And you find these typically in video games and whatnot, and I've decided to bring them into D&D as a way of kind of highlighting an area's history, and of course, the biggest reason for audio logs is to create atmosphere and foreshadow, right? So I'm going to look at each quest individually, and the reality is, maybe let's say there's 12 quests. I'm only going to do this for maybe like 3 locations, right? It's not going to be a lot of stuff. Anyway, the Dwarven Excavation, the first batch of quests was the most logical place, I think. It would be kind of cool. And here's how I'm doing this. I'm just going through and looking at the brief history, and this paragraph right in here is really what set this off. We have all the pieces we need to kind of foreshadow some terrible things that happen in this place. It talks about Abathur and the sacrifices and the gemstones. They weren't enough, and how the sacrifices have become lacking, and so earthquakes and avalanches have collapsed parts of this temple and buried the settlement, and they were not killed. It talks about how the priests were not killed, but transformed into ochre jellies. Great. All right, that's a good stuff. Now I can go into the wiki and stuff and find out even more, but I don't want to do that. We want to keep these things simple, right? So I took this bits of information and went into my Google Docs and created a narrative. Resonant stone number 1. This is how they're recording things. They're talking into stones that capture thoughts, and how we would just talk into a tape recorder, right? So I kind of briefly put down, I don't want any music, what the effects are going to be in this thing, the Resonant Stone number 1, just the file name, and where the location is. And I've named this priest Golthar Tannen. And this is basically just a narrative piece right here. This is what he will say into the Resonant Stone. And of course, around him will be effects like the sound of temple and maybe some fire and torches and lab equipment. You can see, just go to my SoundCloud, you can see some of my examples of, the kind of things I do with radio drama and sound. But anyway, this is what I'm going to do. So this is the first step in bringing these audio files to life. I'm going to show you the next video here. It'll be a completely separate video as we do the audio itself. But I went in, I go to the location, I just kind of pull out some of the overview, and then I go in here and I create, the NPC for that location, who's, probably most likely no longer there. And then I write out a quick narrative. And this one's going to be 2, maybe 3 at the most. I'm thinking 2. The next one will be the Resonant Stone will highlight the sacrifice going wrong, and these are his last thoughts as things go to hell, right? That's what we're going to do. So anyway, this is the first piece of this in writing and creating audio logs for Dragon of Icespire Peak. The next video will go into Adobe Audition, and I'll show you just how it was all put together really, really fast, right? So it's not going to be the whole thing. I'm not going to walk you through it because I've done this in past videos, but it takes a lot of time. Anyway, we're going to hop right in there and I'll show you how to do it, or we're going to hop in there and I'll show you what I've done, basically. All right, guys, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.